Good morning. This is Grassroots Rising, and I'm Jimmy Skogard. Today I want to talk about the glass wall. A government worthy of trust stands in the open. I keep thinking about a room with glass walls. Inside the room sits good people, neighbors, volunteers, ward captains, county chairs, committee members, people who have given evenings, weekends, fuel, phone calls, and years of civic energy to help communities function. Some have knocked on doors in the wind, some have sat through long meetings, some have stayed late after everyone else went home. Most came to this work from care. Most want a stronger community, a cleaner process, and a better future. Outside the glass stands us citizens, the people, the ones whose lives will be shaped by the decisions made in that room. At first glance, glass feels transparent. We can see the table, we can see the chairs, we can see the votes forming. We can even see the faces of the people making the decision. But a glass wall is still a wall. It lets us see power while keeping our hands away from the door. That's the tension I feel right now. There's a frustration in our public life. I hear it. I respect the years of work behind it. I understand the desire for order, standards, consistency. But when people give years to a cause, care and frustration can sit at the same table. Because care alone cannot answer the agency question. A citizen has every right to support a candidate. A volunteer has every right to support a candidate. A committee member has every right to support a candidate. A party organization has every right to make its values plain and ask candidates honest questions. But once a group attempts to pre-select who the public receives as acceptable, the process crosses a line. It moves from persuasion into control, and this is where my concern begins. The object of fairness is not to direct every neighbor towards my conclusion. The object of fairness is to preserve every neighbor's right to reach a conclusion freely. I can make my case, I can tell my story, I can show my record, I can ask for your support, I can persuade, but I do not get to choose for the constituency. That power belongs to the people. Agency is at issue. Agency means the ability to choose, act, speak, and decide our future for ourselves. That word matters because public trust depends on it. When citizens feel boxed out, trust cracks. When decisions appear prearranged, trust cracks. When rules feel like gates instead of standards, trust cracks. The danger is bigger than one candidate or one race. A rule built by caring people today can become a weapon in less careful hands tomorrow. That is why process matters. That is why records matter. That is why open meetings matter. That is why votes matter. That is why plain truth matters. If a public primary is funded by the people, affects the people, and determines who represents the people, then the people must remain the final authority. A public primary belongs to the public. Let's talk about the wall. Transparency is more than seeing into the room. Transparency means the door opens. It means citizens can ask, who made that decision? What standard was used? What record was viewed? Who voted? Who paid? Who benefited? What meeting produced the result? What notes explain the reasoning? A glass wall gives the appearance of openness. A republic requires more. A republic requires a doorway. The public deserves more than visibility. The public deserves access. We deserve spending records. We deserve vote records. We deserve meeting records. We deserve the plain truth behind the decisions. This is the beginning of our May inventory. I am counting more than the miles traveled, towns visited, stories heard, and tools built. I'm counting trust. I'm counting access. I'm counting the places where citizens still have the power to walk in and ask questions and shape the outcome. A government worthy of trust stands in the open. So does any organization seeking influence over a public election. We may have good intentions, but we still need guardrails. I want to be fair here. Many of the people involved in this work are sincere. Many have carried a heavy load for a long time. Many have seen public life become louder, rougher, and harder to manage. I respect service. I respect volunteer time. I respect the desire to protect the institution from chaos. But good intentions still need guardrails. The moment we restrict citizen agency, we weaken the very thing we claim to protect. The proper answer to frustration is persuasion. Make the case, show the record, invite the debate, trust the people. If a candidate lacks character, show the evidence. If a candidate lacks knowledge, ask the hard questions. If a candidate lacks integrity, bring the record into daylight. But let the people decide. That's the covenant. That's the promise. That is the system at its best. Jesus had something to say about the worth of every neighbor. This is where my mind returns to the teachings of Jesus Christ. Jesus did not build a politics of labels. He crossed lines that others treated as permanent. He saw the person before the category. He protected the dignity of the poor, the outsider, the sick, the sinner, and the overlooked. Every person is a child of God. Every person carries dignity. Every voice matters. A system that sorts citizens into acceptable and unacceptable voices fails that test. A process that narrows the doorway before the people have spoken fails that test. A public election must honor the equal dignity of every citizen. That does not mean every idea carries equal wisdom. It means every citizen carries equal worth. We can debate policy with strength. We can challenge records with clarity. We can ask hard questions. We can draw lines around truth, accountability, and public service. But we must preserve the agency of the people. Because once we decide that some voices matter less, the glass wall gets thicker. What we deserve to see. This inventory begins with a simple list. Citizens deserve to see the money. Citizens deserve to see the votes. Citizens deserve to see the meetings. Citizens deserve to see the rules. Citizens deserve to see the records. Citizens deserve to see the reasoning. Citizens deserve to see the plain truth behind public decision. Trust grows when the work can be inspected. That is true in government. That is true in campaigns. That is true in party organizations. That is true in any room where public power is discussed. A closed room breeds suspicion. An open record builds trust. A glass wall is the start, but a doorway is our goal. The people inside the room are our neighbors. The people outside the room are our neighbors. And that's why this moment matters. This is not a call to shame volunteers. This is a call to strengthen process. This is a call to honor service by aligning it with public trust. This is a call to protect every citizen's right to choose. Support the candidate you believe in. Make your case with conviction. Speak clearly. Persuade with facts, character, and courage. Then open the door and let the people decide. That is agency. That is accountability. That is how trust returns. The glass wall shows us where the problem begins. We can see the room. We can see the table. We can see the decision forming. Now the door must open. If you have ever watched a decision get made behind glass, this is your moment. Ask for the record. Attend the meeting. Follow the money. Read the vote. Speak with your neighbor. Support the candidate of your choice and protect every citizen's right to do the same. Because agency means the ability to decide our future for ourselves. We still hold that power, but only if we use it. Our children's and our grandchildren's legacy is in our hands now. Join the movement at skogard2026.org. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.